Yeah, Deputy Ellis. The continued risk to residents in the Glen Riada estate in Longford. The Deputy's 4 minutes.
Minister, just over a week ago I visited Glen Riada to hear firsthand and to see for myself the concerns of the residents. Glen Riada is in County Longford. It's situated about a mile out from the town with no proper public transport and isolated where it is. I was taken aback by the litany of problems that I encountered by the people residing there. There are just over 80 dwellings with approximately 300 people, men, women and children living there. Most of these are on shared ownership and council mortgages, and I think about 9 of them receive rent supplements. As you know, this is an unfinished estate where a full block of apartments were already pulled down this year. These homes are built on a floodplain. They were built under tax exemption provided by Section 23. In the last 7 months, there has been 2 explosions in houses suspected to be as a result of leaking sewer gases due to the completely insufficient building and substandard sewage network that was put in. There is a terrible smell of sewage and other noxious gases, which have resulted in large amounts of visits to local GPs for residents who have missed work or school as a consequence. Residents report high instances of illness around the estate. They are clear what they feel is responsible. Local GPs are backing up these claims and are reporting a bigger increase in Glen Riada than other estates. There is a very clear and visible subsidence under paths, shores and boundaries around the dwellings. One row of buildings which I am told should not be occupied was in fact occupied but had no suitable fire escape. All it had was a door that led to a 1-storey drop. The door was there, but there was no visible way out. I visited a couple of these houses where gas monitors were in place. There was a very bad smell of sewage. The HSE and local authorities have advised people in these houses and what they have deemed as unsafe estates to keep their windows open. Families struggling to make ends meet in what has become a living hell are told as winter sets in to keep their windows open. These families are afraid to turn on the heating, light fires, cookers, or even a cigarette for fear of another explosion. The HSE has said it is unsafe, and yet the people are still moving into the estate on rental supplement from the HSE. The state is actually subsidising the endangerment of these people. The families are asking to be evacuated and accommodated elsewhere until the issues are resolved or sorted out for once and for all. Minister, are you aware, first off, that the HSE has said this is an unfit and unsafe estate? Are you aware the estate was built on a floodplain? Are you aware that the HSE and Longford County Council has asked residents to keep their windows, doors and vents open and not to light fires and to smoke outside? I visited some of these houses. The chimneys are not properly secured, paths are sinking, substandard sewage systems and no proper radon layers in these houses. Minister, the question is, who signed off on this estate? Why is the HSE continuing to offer rental supplement in the estate? Are you also aware that a HSE primary care centre has been built on the neighbouring field in the same floodplain? That HSE primary care is essential for Longford, but why was it built where it is in a floodplain, and what was the criteria for building this centre on this floodplain? And what investigations have been carried out into the standards that applied here with planners and others in the Longford County Council? This estate should be evacuated, and that is my opinion after looking at it and talking to the residents from all the issues that have been raised there. And I'm asking you, Minister, to give us some indicator as to what can be done here and not kick to the local authority or elsewhere, because this is a very, very serious issue.
Minister.
Thank you, Caherly. I'd like to thank Deputy for raising the matter this afternoon. It is the case that an explosion occurred within a private house, one of a terrace of 6 houses on the Glen Riada development in Longford in March of this year. Subsequently, Longford County Council appointed a firm of consulting engineers, Tobin Consultants, to investigate the causes of the explosion. The specific findings of the report from Tobin Consultants have been made available to residents of the terrace in Glen Riada, as well as general advice having been made available to other residents in the estate. Longford County Council has also established a steering group to address the range of issues faced by the occupants of the Glen Riada development and is liaising with the other state authorities involved, including, inter alia, the Health and Safety Authority. I have to say to the Deputy, though, that given that this matter is currently the subject of legal action, it would be inappropriate to comment further at this time, save to note that the Minister is aware of a second explosion having occurred in this development earlier this month and is following developments in respect of this particular estate closely. Unfortunately, the issues faced by the residents of the Glen Riada development are a severe example of the legacy problems which this government inherited on a national basis in relation to unfinished housing developments throughout the state. Minister Jan O'Sullivan is leading the government's work in tackling this pressing issue. Minister O'Sullivan is chairing the National Coordination Committee on Unfinished Housing Developments to oversee implementation of the report of the Advisory Group on Unfinished Housing Developments, together with the government's response to the recommendations. The committee comprises representatives from the banking sector, the local authorities, NAMA and the construction sector, as well as the department. Minister Hogan considers that harnessing these various areas of expertise in a collaborative approach will result in the most effective resolution of the issues which we face, and many of which were set out by the Deputy. Outputs from this committee so far include the preparation of a guidance manual on resolving and managing unfinished housing developments, which was published in August 2011, the preparation of a key stakeholders code of practice and a residence guide, both published last week, overseeing the Public Safety Initiative, which provides funding support of €5 million, improved national and local coordination through the City and County Managers Association, engagement and coordination of initiatives with NAMA, engagement with the banking sector through the Irish Banking Federation, and reviewing best practice initiatives and progress on the preparation of site resolution plans nationally. This committee, Caherly, is meeting on a regular basis with the aim of publishing a report on progress achieved within the next 12 months. In the meantime, work is ongoing on implementation of the report of the advisory group, and real progress is already being made with regard to the public safety works required to improve the living conditions of existing residents on some of these unfinished estates. And to say to you that the Minister and the Government are very much alive to the issues that have been raised by the Deputy.
Deputy, 2 minutes.
And thanks very much, Minister, for that reply. And I'm not blaming the government on what's happened here. This happened not during your watch, it happened with a previous government over the last number of years, where the whole lack of regulations, the lack of control, the lack of checks and balances happened. So that, but what I am saying is that this is such a serious issue that the reports that I had from the people there as to what's happening and the state of the estate and some of the houses, and the fact that a second explosion occurred within a short period of a previous one, indicates that there's something seriously wrong. You could see underneath the houses. That's how big the gap is, where this is clearly the ground is sinking. It's built on a swamp. And the issue that it also brings me to is that the HSE have rented a field just beside it. They put the primary care, a new primary care centre, which is badly needed. Nobody disputes that for the Longford area. But it is, I can't understand how this got by the planners, the inspectors, all the different regulations, because this is only recent. So I really just don't understand it. It's a mile from the town. There's no proper public transport. How this site was chosen is baffling me. But the thing is, that someone has to answer for this. And in terms of, there is studies to say that the prolonged effect of these gases that have been identified, there's monitors in these houses, there's loads of monitors, but the prolonged effect of these gases has terrible serious effect. And that's why we're getting the reports of people having nausea, having headaches, and there's an increase in illnesses. And doctors locally have verified that there is an increase, there's a higher proportion of people sick coming from that estate than there is elsewhere. So it is an urgent. I know there's a court case going on, but we, you know, where everything else fails, government has to come forward and sort out these problems. And that's what I'm asking. When this court case and when there's a number of the other issues settled, Minister, this will end up back on your lap, and we will need action, because the people here cannot live in these conditions. The children that are there are being put in serious danger, and I'm pleading with you, when we get to the next stage, we do need urgent action.
Minister.
Note again the points that the Deputy has made in his rejoinder, and like him, Minister Hogan is totally committed to resolving I mean, really, it's a spectrum of issues that have arisen, not only in relation to Glen Riada specifically, which is the one that the Deputy has raised, but the problems being experienced nationally by residents in unfinished housing developments. Really a very acute and very difficult issue. Under the Public Safety Initiative for Unfinished Housing Developments, the Department has made allocations totalling some £3.338 million to 21 local authorities from the funding made available to address immediate public safety issues. The types of works that have been approved to date include the fencing off of unsecured and hazardous areas, capping of pipes, installation of street lighting and other works to secure sites. Just say that in respect of the development at Glen Riada in Longford, the Department approved funding totalling €91,753 in August of this year to cover the cost of addressing immediate public safety concerns there. Developments in 20 other local authority areas have also been supported under the Public Safety Initiative, as I've indicated. The first annual progress report of the NCC, published by Minister Hogan's department on the 5th of July, confirmed that significant progress had been made nationally on the issue. While 2,876 estates had been identified as unfinished in the previous baseline survey, this number had been reduced to 2,066. It should, however, be noted that not all of these developments are seriously problematic. The Minister, although many are. The Minister anticipates that this progress will be reflected in the 2012 National Housing Development Survey now underway. The results of that survey are expected later in the year. Thank you.
There's quite a grouping here.